challenge thee.
Angler Talk Podcast brought to you by FishinMagicianTV.com. We are your hosts. I'm Chris. This is Aaron. How's it going, bud?
Hey, big guy. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, man, just living the dream. You know how it is.
I'm excited about this, man. It should be good. We got plenty of topics to talk about, man. So much in the new year, dude, to look forward to. So, this should be good.
Yeah, with the new format, I mean, we did the podcast on FishinMagicianTV.com. That turned out pretty good. Got a lot of good views on YouTube. But we decided to keep that channel as a fishing channel for fishing videos for the future. So here we are with Angler Talk. And we're hoping to bring this to a different level, talk about fishing, keep it instructional, talk to captains and mates and some of the best tackle manufacturers in the industry. And hopefully maybe sometime we might get a little bit of controversy. That's always fun.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, we're never going to have everybody agree with what we're saying, dude. But, again, it's an opinion. Just like, an ass, everybody's got one,
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean, man. So, man, 2021 was a hell of a year. How'd it go for you?
Oh, I got my the surprise of the year. My boy, came all the way down from New Jersey and said, "Hey, I'm here." So, that was fun. Me and you got to spend a couple hours out on the boat, and my new stomping ground. Really didn't catch much, dude, because I got kind of put on the spot, but tried to make it. It was
that's
good.
fishing, though.
Yeah, that's fishing for sure. And it was good, dude. Is having another captain on the boat, understanding that, and it wasn't like I'm here for an hour. We better catch something. It was chill. It was nice, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I first got my captain's license and I started doing charters, I have a lot of great people who help me out. People like Captain Eric Kerber, Captain Jerry Passerino, tell me that it's going to be a learning curve. It's not about catching fish; it's about watching somebody else catch a fish, making sure you put them on there, and it's not easy. And I kind of did this when I was back in the day with cars. I loved cars. I love building cars. I love racing cars. And then I got into it as a profession. And then when you turn something that you love into a job, eventually that love and passion starts to dissipate. So I saw that, and don't get me wrong, I love putting people on fish, but I don't think it's just something that I could do every day.
That's understandable.
And Greg from Manic Sport Fishing gave me the opportunity to go down to the Keys and work with him, and it was great. He's a good teacher.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Keys are awesome. I mean, I did learn very quickly that it's someplace when you visit, it's amazing. When you live there, it's very different.
Yeah, that's been the story of my life for 4 years now, man, for sure.
Yeah, there was a guy. I'm not going to say his name because he won't get that type of clout from me. But for the following 3 weeks leading to me getting there, talking a lot of crap about me. I'm a big guy, so he calls me, fat, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I don't care about that. Now, what makes me think about it and just say "Oh, you're a real scumbag, dude," because I met this guy one time in my entire existence of life. He used to be a mate on the party boat Seahorse out of the Atlantic Highlands, and I had a 6-hour trip on that boat. That was my only interaction with this dude. So before I get down there, he's saying that I'm a scumbag, I'm a piece of crap, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, who the hell is saying this stuff? So I finally meet the dude, and when he sees me, he's smiling and giving me a hug, like, "Yo, how's it been? It's been so long." I'm like, I don't know you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Chris, you got to think too, though. Your whole way down, I'm sure the captain you went to go live with down there was telling them how you got this guy coming down, just got his captain's license, inspiring captain, and he's chasing his dream, and he probably made it probably made that guy super envious. I mean, there's always something behind the scenes you don't get to see. and there was a
Okay.
reason for it, and that's most
Absolutely.
likely the reason. Super envious and or jealous of the fact that you're chasing your dream and doing what you need to.
Yeah, I mean that happened up here as well. Like I was looking for a full-time mate.
Yeah,
Um and the only reason I wanted a mate was basically for the docking of the boat because I had a really crappy slip
yeah,
and I didn't have a finger dock. It was a real pain in the butt and the current is always blasting through there, wind against the tide. It's a pain in the
yeah.
ass. So I had made a post looking for a full-time mate, and I have a guy calling me out talking about it's pathetic how you need a mate for a small boat, and you can just hear the jealousy because this guy's been a mate for like 35 years,
Hey,
and
thanks.
he's just like,
Oh, but
well, you shouldn't even be a captain. You were never even a mate. I was just like, man, these guys have like nothing better to do. Like,
well, let
if
me
it's that
tell you.
important, if you think you're that good and
Right,
you've been in the industry for 30 years, then it's very simple. Make a phone call, set up a date to take your class, and take your
right.
class. That's all it
Well,
is.
2001 definitely did not have its shortness of haters, and I mean that's on both sides of the fence, man. I had a good group of envious people myself, but I've always held this close to my heart, man. You are who you hang out with. Grandmother said that to me when I was younger, and I hated it. But it's the God's honest truth, man. If you surround yourself with people that are scumbags or living the wrong way or don't have the same kind of sight in mind, then it usually goes pretty south pretty quick. Or you get seen as that kind of character of person, which I hate,
Exactly.
more than anything, dude. I'd like you to know, even when I'm not there, when someone says something bad about me, dude, you're immediately going to think there's no way in hell that's that guy. You know what I mean? I,
Exactly.
I try not to change up at all, and it's been something I pride myself with, dude. So 2021 definitely had a bucket full of haters, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Well, hopefully, with the new year and not trying to go with the Facebook collage of New Year, New Me, but hopefully some people will turn a leaf and we won't be stuck with such crappiness all around. So,
yeah, yeah, that's
but
good.
uh, but yeah. So enough with these morons. Let's get into like some fishing reports. How was your overall year? Did you catch any more personal bests or anything like that?
Yeah, so the year started off pretty good. I started picking off some really large snook, which you can see on my Facebook page or on Instagram, even the YouTube channel. But I started picking off some decent sized snook at the inlet, and it wasn't a live bait; it was on artificials. I was souped, like I felt what I was doing was finally like lining up all together, picking wind, tide, moon, getting it all dialed in. And then we get a weather change 1 month, about midway through the year, and they shut off. It was like there was no fish in the friggin' ocean. No matter what I did at that inlet, didn't matter. So I started to focus more towards, getting my boat together and getting out more on the boat. And I really got dialed in with the way the sea trout and reds and even snook, some bluefish too mixed in, kind of like migrate in and out of the Indian River or up and down through the Indian River here in Florida. And I had them. I still to this day have them pretty figured out. There's days and there's weeks, man, where I'll go and catch, if I'm lucky, one fish, two fish. And I know everybody has days like that. They're the most friggin' frustrating of all. But
Mhm.
I try to learn my best from what I did, either the prior trip or that trip, to where I can kind of like benefit or make the next one even better. So every time out is a learning curve. But as far as personal best, man, like the inlet here in Sebastian had some 40+ pound snow pulled out by myself and or by me, and that had to be like a personal achievement. And I know it's a lot of guys' bucket list to get like a 40+ snook.
Yeah.
They're not crazy common, especially off artificials. And this year gave that to me. It definitely was well worked, and it was some hard work put in to figure out when they were going to be there, man. But that's definitely my personal best for this year. That's for sure. What about yourself, man? Have you been out at all
Uh,
before Florida?
well, the last time I went out, I believe, was a week before Christmas, and me and my buddy Jose, Captain Jose Bastos, we went out of Keyport, New Jersey.
Okay.
And we put a striper slam together, man. We caught 42 fish, and this is an hour. And
Right.
the best part is we could have fished him off the surf, but we went out for his boat for the last time this season, and I would say a mile and a half, a mile and 3/4 away from the marina. And from when I left, the big thing for striper fishing was still shad, swim shads. That's always what we use for like the past, I don't know, 10 years.
Mhm.
And now the big thing these days is flutter spoons.
Yeah.
So I'm watching them throw this down there. I'm just like, what the hell is that? Like you fluke fishing?
Right.
that's
When
that's
now
it.
when you say flutter jig, just for everybody that don't understand, you're talking about like a almost like vertical jigging, like diamond jigging, right? Hitting the bottom, reel up a couple times, drop
the
it
the
up
the
and throw
thing
it.
is this is a very light flutter spoon.
Okay.
It kind of mimics like a fluke spoon, but
Okay.
it's a lot wider. Has barely any weight to it, and you just gotta flutter it.
Hmm.
You jig it real hard, and well, I got lucky. I was using some swim shads by a company down there in Florida, NLBN, no live bait needed. And I would say on my second drop, I hooked into a nice 24 incher. There was only maybe three keepers in the entire mix, but it was just fun all day long. I mean, we had a good solid 2 hours of fishing, and then obviously changed the tide, bite shut off. But it was very, very good. And when I was down in Florida, man, it was really fun. Fishing with customers and catching mangroves and yellowtails and stuff like that. But also, I would go do surf fishing at night for myself. Caught my first ever black margate. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Wow.
Uh, I got into a couple tarpon. I gotta find the SD cards for those videos, but definitely gotta put those videos together. The one thing that I did not catch that I was so focused on down there was a snook.
I know. I know. And
That
we
that
tried. We gave it our best that one night, man.
we did. And let me tell you something, guys. Aaron, every day was calling me, "Yo, let's go to the inlet. Let's go to the inlet," and we fished it. And it wasn't for a lack of effort. I mean, I went chest deep in water, damn near lost my phone and everything, just trying to get to a spot to cast these fish. But the thing is, the mullet were so thick. Us trying to get our baits in front of that fish's mouth was just damn near impossible.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is sometimes. But
Yeah, no, I mean we had a bright moon. It was just it seemed like every time me and him tried to get together, it was just all of the things that I would not want were just there waiting for us. And like he said, he was chest deep in water. If you have to explain to your buddy, listen, I promise, as soon as we get around this corner and we get over this freaking mountain, that's where we're gonna want to fish. But it's worth it. As soon as them words start leaving your mouth, dude, it's hard to convince anybody just to get through that to fish. But he pushed through it, man. We got there, and like you
yeah,
said, all of it were just too thick. It was
and we
all the meat.
and we were literally watching them engulf mullet,
Yeah,
and we're sight casting right in front, and they just wouldn't take it.
yeah,
And in my opinion, like I told you, I think that the snook's nickname should be princess fish.
mm.
These fish won't bite on high tide. They
Right,
won't they won't bite when the current is moving. It has to be low tide, slack tide for these fish to even consider looking at your bait.
right.
And then when they are considering looking at your bait, there's 600 million mullet running through. So it's just kind of like, oh man, is this getting any easier?
I know it. And you'll get your guys, right? You'll get your guys that go out there that are listening to this right now, and they're like, "You're crazy! I went and bought a $50 combo at Walmart, and I hooked a chunk of bunker on it, and I caught a 40+ pound snook. It's
Yeah,
possible, just like it is back north. It's possible for striped bass. You got your guy that goes and buys, the Kmart combo, and he goes out and kills it next to you. But if you're trying to dial it in, you're trying to figure these fish out, and you're trying to utilize the couple hours that you might have free to get out there and actually do something good. I'm telling you, it's not that easy. I mean, there's guys that make it look super easy, but these
yeah,
are finicky as can be when you're talking about 40+ pound fish. They
yeah,
just like big stripers.
absolutely. And it's like guys like me and you, we consider ourselves diehard anglers.
Right.
Like we will go out there in 7-degree weather. We'll go out there in 107-degree weather, and we'll fish 300 days a year. That's no problem. Me personally, I'll never tell anybody, hey, I'm the best fisherman you'll ever meet, because I'm just not that type of person, and it's not true. But does fishing take some type of skill? Yes, but I believe it's more luck than skill any day of the week. You just got to be at the right spot at the right time, and you got to get lucky enough for that fish to have a mental brain fart to say, "Let me bite that." You know?
You see, that's where I agree with you, and I don't agree with you. So 100% you got to have luck, but I can't allow myself to think that it's just luck. And I know you said it's more than luck, but if I allow myself to think it's just luck, that's when I give up on the friggin' on the logs that I'm logging, and I'm writing down every trip and tide and moon, and that's
Yeah,
where my craziness goes out the window, and I'm like back to the Kmart combo with a chunk of bunker, and I'm saying what the hell happens with a cigarette in my mouth. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'm praying like that. There's more to it than just luck, and there's times, man. That's why every time I called you down, I was like, yo, I'm going to the inlet. There was a rhyme and reason behind it, dude. It was
hmm
slack freaking tide, and it was no moon, no wind, and I didn't see, a lick of bait in the back. So I figured this is our window. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. So I mean, hell, part of me wants to say you're right, and it's just luck. You just got to buy it.
Excuse me. But yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And I'm not going to say that it's 100% luck and it's 100% skill. I think it's a mixture of 60-40. Sometimes one way, sometimes another. But definitely, when it comes to certain fish, especially popular game fish, where they have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
See, people just look at a fish and just say it's a dumb fish. I can catch that. That's not true. These fish have brains and they get accustomed to tendencies. So when they're constantly being pressured of, like that night of Sebastian Inlet, we were there. There were 70 people on a bridge
Yeah.
throwing baits at them. And they're just looking at them like, that's not natural. That's not natural. And maybe 4 hookups we saw.
You're right. No, you're right. Dead right.
And, it's just, it's an accumulation of a lot of things. Yes, you got to get lucky, but yes, you got to have your technique down pat. I totally do agree with that and believe in that.
So
So,
if you talk about 2021, we were kind of conversating back and forth a little bit. I know before the new season, you had called me super excited. There was a couple tackle companies that took us on. There was
oh yes,
bait companies that took us on, dude. You want to let the people know? I mean, please.
yeah, absolutely. Tony Maja Products has come back on with FishinMagicianTV.com. We also got a new sponsor, Fisherman's Bait Choice. For anybody who don't know what Fisherman's Bait is, it's they make squid strips, they make salmon strips, great for flounder fishing, sea bass fishing, all types of bottom fishing in general. You're gonna catch fish from anywhere from Maine to Jersey using this. From Maine to Florida using this type of bait. They also have a product called Finessence, which is a bottle of liquid stench, and I truly believe in it, and I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar on it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, especially in the spring run when the stripers come through, how my hookup ratio is so much more than the 5 people to my right and the 5 people to my left. You know what I'm saying? I make bait balls. I make a worm ball with blood and sandworms,
You were telling
but
about
I also have a strip of cloth in there that I soak inside the finessence. So I put the cloth in first, put 2 sandworms, wrap it, 2 bloodworms, wrap it.
breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. You better listen to this right now, okay? Fans giving up secrets.
Yeah,
Breaking news.
and it really does work. And I'd be willing to show you my bank account and write a check and put that up as a bet that I will hook up more than a person who doesn't have that.
And it's the
You
truth.
know,
There's times, Chris, where like I'm throwing artificials, man, and I'm not gonna name the scent, because again, I'm all behind our supporters, man, and finesse the scent that they have. I think they have what shrimp. They have
they have shrimp, shredder crab,
yep.
clam, and bunker.
So the shrimp, I know even when I'm using these artificials, I will stripe some of this jelly, some of this goo, some of this slime down this artificial, and some of these like how do I say, some of these speckled trout that get finicky and they only, bite one time and then they get spooked, they will come back for a second bite. So some of these fish, they get that little taste, they get that little scent, and it's on. You get that second chance you normally wouldn't get when you don't have a scent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and plus that's mainly what a fish is attracted to is the scent because their eyesight in the water is only yet so good. They have to rely on their scent. So definitely, if it really stinks, it's gonna want to investigate what the hell that is and what's going on. Just like they say, a drop of blood in the water will attract the shark. Well, something really stinky will attract the fish.
Sure. And again, you want to increase any chances you guys can. I mean, short of shooting a bow and arrow and actually sticking a fish in the head, you want to increase your chances because, like me, I work 40 hours plus a week. I don't have maybe a handful of hours out of the week that I can get out there and actually do this. And if I'm going after work for an hour or two, I want to increase every freaking odd in my favor that I can. If it's tide, like we
Absolutely.
talk about, wind, I mean, or scent. I mean, the scent is a big deal. So you got to look at
Absolutely.
them.
And all of the stuff that Fisherman's Choice Baits sells pairs perfectly with another one of our sponsors, which is SNS Bucktails. Stan over at SNS Bucktails makes a very high quality jig. It is 100% lead. It is paired up with owner hooks, very very good stainless steel hooks, and the finessence along with squid strips and the salmon belly will work great, especially for your flounder fishing. Me, I have a thing for salmon belly because it lasts longer. You know, as when a flounder hits a squid strip, you might get 2 drops out of it. But a salmon belly, because that skin is so hardy, you'll get 6 to 8 drops out of one strip, which is pretty cool. Which is the better bang for your buck, you know?
So Chris, I know probably some of our listeners don't. They're sitting here listening to you thinking about what the hell is salmon belly, but so the old timers, I grew up understanding that the old timers would keep the flounder that they would keep. They would fillet at the dock. They would strip out the belly meat on the flounder because it's like almost like leather, and then they
Hmm.
use that belly meat as like almost like a gulp or like a
Yeah.
squid strip. And again, it would just you think a flounder eating another flounder,
Oh yeah, they are very cannibalistic.
right? I think it's more again, it's not so much they smell flounder. I think they smell a scent and they see that
Hmm.
white ribbon ripping through the water, and they immediately
Absolutely.
think bait fish, something in distress. So the salmon belly allows you to do that without killing small flounder for their belly strips or
Hmm.
even worrying about filleting and dicing up the belly meat. You have it in this all ready to go. I mean, they basically develop
Exactly.
the S out and send it and ready for you.
And up here in the northeast, countless tackle shops sell it from north to south Jersey. You can always pick it up at the tackle box on Route 36, Tight Lights Bait and Tackle in Summers Point. But also down in Florida, Bionic Bait sells Fisherman's Choice baits, and I encourage you all to give it a try. You won't be disappointed. So look them out, look them up, and try it out. What do you got to lose?
I mean, I tell you what, there's nothing beats just being able to, like I said, when you have a short window to be able to get out there and fish, nothing beats being able to grab something ready and already rigged to go. Because the bionic bait kind of has a weird name down here in Florida, but
Yeah,
I will tell you this: back in New Jersey, and I was there for many years, to find fresh or live ballyhoo is like almost impossible. So to be
yeah,
able to grab a pack of already rigged, ready to go ballyhoo.
yeah.
That was like grabbing a pack of cigarettes before you got on the boat. It's something you had to do if you were going off. And they have it. It's rigged. It's not freezer dried. I mean, you can't beat it. Anything
Yeah,
that
I
comes up.
mean, and just to touch base on what you said a little while ago, I do know about the reputation that Bionic Bait has in Florida, and I am not gonna, go down that path, but I get it, and I just want people to know that Bionic Bait does not make Fisherman's Choice; they just supply the bait. That's all it is. It is shipped down here from Newark, New Jersey, all the way down to Florida, and just so the people are clear on that.
No, that's good to be clear on.
Definitely.
Definitely down here in Florida. But again, I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, I guess we're kind of new to all this together, but I just want the listeners to know if they're not familiar with my Facebook and any of my social media platforms, I believe I am a New Jersey native. Okay, so
Yeah.
New Jersey holds such a huge place in my life and my heart. Grew up there 30 years, new to Florida 4 years. Chris wants to be from Florida, and the man wants to live here in Florida. I want to go the opposite way,
Yeah.
and we're trying to talk each other out of going the opposite ways. But
Yeah.
New Jersey holds a big spot in my heart. So when we talk about striped bass,
Absolutely.
I don't want you guys to sit here and think some Florida friggin' guy, what the hell does he know about striped bass?
Yeah.
I eat it and sleep it and would do it tomorrow if I could. So
And just to touch base on that, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love New Jersey. I cut my teeth here as an angler. You know what I'm saying? This is where I was born and raised. This
yeah,
is where I learned how to tie my knots, how to rig, and I learned a lot from probably some of the best captains in the country around New Jersey. And I've caught so many big fish here, so many different types of fish here. And we have a little bit of everything. What's unique about New Jersey is we have just as much saltwater fishery as we do freshwater fishery. I mean, there's not many states where you can catch a striped bass, a flounder, which we call a fluke, a muskie, a northern pike, and a snakehead in one state.
right.
You know,
For sure.
this state has such an all around fishery that is just amazing, and I love it here. Don't get me wrong, but I'm pushing 33 already, man.
And I just
Well,
call cops. My man don't
the-
want to hold it for it. That's all it is. He's tired of the 16
but
degrees.
the other day it was 16 degrees out here, and I walked outside and I'm just like, Mother of God, what is going on, and what am I doing here?
Right.
It's just like. I also forgot to tell you I was working on a little nickname for us because we're both Jersey boys that lived in Florida at some point, and I'm gonna go back down there. The Jersey Flow Drum Boys.
I don't know how I feel about that one. I gotta sleep on
Jersey Flow Boys.
that. I gotta
Jersey
sleep on
Flow
that.
Boys.
Thank God
Number
your
water.
phone's.
But yeah, that's.
I'm gonna act like I didn't hear all that.
But yeah, Florida itself though, it's a very special place. There's very nice people down there. For the most part, you got Southern hospitality. But I mean, fishing in Florida is just, Florida is the mecca of fishing in the United States, in my opinion. That's not a fact, but that is how I feel. I mean, you can go to pretty much any freshwater lake and pull out a 6 pound bass. You can go fishing off the surf. Don't even have to catch far, and you can catch anything from grouper to pompano to snapper to
No, you're
snook,
right.
tarpon. It's insane the abundance of what's down there.
You're right.
And
If you're willing to drive an hour, if you're willing to drive a half an hour, I mean, again, we do the same thing back north. I mean, if you're willing to drive, if you go to one spot, you know what they say here is, if you don't like the weather, drive 5 minutes south. If you don't like the
yeah,
weather there, drive 5 minutes north. Because I mean, it literally is changing that quick and that close to you. I mean, you can see it raining a quarter of a mile away and still being, sunny and 80 right where you're at.
yeah,
So the temperature, I think, is what allows people here to continue. Again, I know it's common sense, but it allows people to fish mostly all year round for abundance of species. I think for me, what holds my heart back north is the chase and the anticipation of the striped bass run. There's
yeah,
again even the elusive weak fish, man. I mean, there was many years where I grew up to where weak fish were friggin' amazing, and you fill coolers, and that was the problem. Blah blah, but then they shut off, and they were like elusive as hell, and you see a dude on Facebook catch it, and everybody's trying to find out where he's at in the background, and so
yeah. That's the filet mignon of the ocean.
the hunt for me, I think, is what I miss the most. I mean, again, you can kind of just go out any friggin' day here and go target something, and you might get lucky, you might not. You might be able to do it, you might not. But back home, it was one of them things for me where March friggin' first hit, dude. And even if it was freezing, I was at a power plant somewhere with friggin' ice chunks on my rod and hand warmers in my pocket, soaking bloodworm, trying to get like the first striped bass of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
everybody to the bait shop with the first one, and yeah, that's really, I think, what what makes me want to fish back north more than anything. It's the hunt. It's the elusiveness of the striped bass. Just the drive behind it.
I hear you. I just want to plug something in there right now. If you guys are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to hit the subscribe with the little bell notification so you know every time we come on and you don't miss an episode. All right? Thanks. But anyway, now is that time down in South Jersey. You're back at your backyard down there for the white perch is coming up.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, and I tell you what, the white perch was like my ice over when the striped bass kind of like took off and they were too far south and we weren't doing the North or North Carolina or Virginia run. We were in either on or in the Mullica River or the Great Egg Harbor River. And I'm telling you what, if you guys have never fished for white perch, I mean, basically using the same bait as you are for stripers, you can use bloodworm, you could use clam. I love grass shrimp. You can use even, I've heard sand fleas, friggin'
yeah.
sand fleas. If you could find them, I heard they're like, almost like the best bait you could use. I never tried them for white perch, but
Yeah,
I tell you what,
that's
there's not much for me that beats the grass shrimp. And there's some holes on the Mullica, and there's some holes in the Great Egg Harbor that hold, I mean, close to 2.5 pound, white perch. And we filled coolers and made limits. I mean, out of a half of a day. I mean, it's an amazing fishery, and they're amazingly good eating.
yeah. I mean, I've never really fished for white perch before, so let's just try and tell people who maybe want to get into it. What type of rig would you use for that?
Yeah. So we used to when we were short of money and low on funds, we would grab some monofilament, maybe 30 to 40 pound test, and as clear as you can get. If you can get that Yozori clear pink leader, I feel it's even better. And then you want to grab small hooks. So I think they're like size 1 or smaller. Don't quote me on the size, but we're talking sunny hooks. So like
Mm-hmm.
freshwater, crappy sunny hooks. And you want to do a high-low rig. So my go-to rig was about 2 feet, 3 feet of monofilament, and then you
Mm-hmm.
go about 4 to 6 inches off. So you go down about a foot, 6 inches off with the hook. You do one of the loop knots to where you could just have the hook coming off and sitting up like a J. Then you go down about a foot. You do another bend off. You could do like a bimini or like there's a couple inline knots that I can't think of the name right now, but a couple inline knots that'll make that bait like a high-low rig for you. But it's a high-low rig with super small hooks for sunny fishing, with maybe an ounce or lighter of weight, depending on where you're at on the river or where there's current. And you literally like you want to thread the grass shrimp onto the hook or hide the hook with the bloodworm. And I can't stress to you guys enough. If you find moving water where there's a little bit of a hole, say it goes from 5 feet down to 10, usually in that hole is where the white perch predominantly kind of hang out and they school. And once you find them, you'll know you found them. I mean, you can't keep. It's literally the best thing you could do if you got kids on the boat because it's nonstop action, man.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, they make some great fish sandwiches as well.
Oh my god, pain in the ass to clean because they're so small. But when you get through a dozen of these things, dude, I mean, if your kids are kind of iffy on fish, my little one loves the white perch. I got a recipe that I shared with you guys on another podcast or another episode of how we cook them and maybe even do a catch and cook. But the white perch is the whitest, kind of softest fillet out of just a little easy to catch fish that anybody really can catch.
Yeah. That's pretty cool though, and I look forward to within the next few weeks making my way down to the Brigantine, Atlantic City area, and giving it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I could always put you on them spots, man. There's a couple of land-based spots. You don't have to be from a boat. There's a lot of really good access in on the Mullica River. So I don't know if it's Ocean County or if it's still Atlantic County, but if you guys would Google the Mullica River, there's a bunch of little like bridges and outcrops that they put like walking paths and little like fishing docks from to where they don't stop you from getting in there. You actually have access where you can park your car, walk down the river, and try to catch some, white perch. And first, there was many a days, man, where like I would tell my buddies, like, no, I don't want to fish off the bridge. we'd get on the friggin' boat and wind up running to that bridge anyway and sitting there using it to fish, from the structure. And the white perch were sitting right underneath the spot where we could have just parked the car and fished off land. So, don't be let down if you can't get out on the boat to fish for a perch, because it's not necessary.
Absolutely. And yeah, some good tips though, and I appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are listening are gonna probably get the itch to go out there and do some of that fishing for some perch this weekend, maybe.
For sure. And I
Yeah.
hope so. And if there's any more questions you guys have, please, just reach out to the both of us, dude. If Chris can't get a hold of me or doesn't have the answer for you, I will try my best.
Yeah, and you can always reach us at FishinMagicianTV.com. My email and phone number is on the website, along with all our social media, Fishing Magician TV on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Aaron can be found at Fish On on Facebook and YouTube, and also Instagram, correct?
Yep, for sure. And as time goes on, we'll update the page. I'll have my phone number, email address there too. But there's plenty of ways to just reach out to us if you guys got any questions at all, concerns or ideas for upcoming podcasts and videos. Please feel free.
All right, so we've talked quite a bit about Jersey. How about Florida? How's the fishing going down there right now?
So right now, I find in my area. So I'm in Indian River County, Brevard County, right at across from the Sebastian Inlet. I will tell you, the Indian River is slower than a snail in the friggin' wintertime. You guys gotta excuse my dog. She's going a little crazy in the back there. Her mom. But yeah, the Indian River is slow, man. I mean, live shrimp. I'm throwing artificials. I'm trying to do everything in my power to get these fish to bite, and I see them. Like, there's redfish there, there's snook there. I mean, they're literally in a foot of water, and I can come up on them with the boat, barely spook them, throw it in front of them. They don't want to take it. So I don't know if it's kind of like wintering over, or if they're, they have enough of what they're feeding on to where they don't want to be tricked into artificials. But if you're not fishing the river, you're not just chunking live bait and hoping for the best. Sorry about the dog, guys. The inlet's key. The inlet is key right now. Last January, last February, I had one of the biggest redfish of my life. So it was pushing over 40 pounds. I caught them on live shrimp. They do a thing there on the Sebastian Inlet Pier, fishing pier, where it's called walking the line. You small egg sinker to a swivel to about 2 foot a leader to almost the same size friggin' hook as you're perch fishing, but a little more girth to the hook to where it don't bend out. And you walk the line. So tide's going out. You're walking down the fishing pier with the tide, and you're literally just bumping it along with everybody, all the other locals that are up there walking that line with you, and hoping something, bites your hook. Sure as shit, about a half an hour into it, 40+ pound redfish. So I know guys that are close to me here that are up there not fishing the inlet, or excuse me, not fishing the river from boat, but they're fishing the inlet from boat, and they're doing the same thing, man. Big reds, big snook, live bait, nothing to really speak about in the river. And that's the river holds my heart, man. I love the chase. Again, like I said earlier, I love getting on the boat. I love trying to trick the fish into friggin' biting one of these artificials that I think is the best friggin' artificial, or, it's the color for the day. And, it's not working on the river right now. Tomorrow, I'm actually getting up at sunup, and I'm going to shoot a little more north from where I'm at. I'm going to wind up fishing the Mosquito Lagoon. And it's a bunch of solid water. It's got a couple deep little drops here and there. But I'm hoping the seagrass is the key that we're missing here in Sebastian. I'm hoping some of these sea trout are really using this, the seagrass to kind of, navigate and kind of ambush prey. So who knows? Again, this is my crazy fish mind, trying to figure out why they're not here, and hopefully they're there, and so we'll keep you posted. But the inlet's where to go right now.
Absolutely, and Sebastian Inlet. Anybody in Florida will tell you that's definitely a fishing destination. So it's kind of crazy to see that it's slow right now. But when I was there in Stuart for a while, one of my spots to fish was the Stuart Causeway, and fishing right underneath that bridge, and just the array of species that go through there. I'm talking about, I caught mutton snapper, mangrove snapper, No yellowtails. I did catch my first black margate over there. I saw some snook, but of course, a little picky bastard didn't eat it.
Yeah.
And then looking at 200, 250 pound tarpon jumping out of the water.
Right.
But I didn't hook one that big. The biggest tarpon I think I hooked into down there was, well, at Stuart Causeway, it was about 65, maybe 70 pounds. But there's just so many different things. Sheephead is also over there. And it's just you guys live and die by shrimp, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no, shrimp is the key. And again, something else that I wanted to do, like back north. I hope I have a chance to pack the truck up and drive back north because I'm going to load a freaking 50-gallon tank full of live dude and run it to you because I think that, again, my fishing brain thinks if I can get some of these big shrimp out there behind Brigantine, dude, during flounder season, I think
Yeah.
it is going to just shut down the show. I swear to you. I think I'll have that 10-pound doormat that I've always been chasing out there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, shrimp is key, man. You know, live shrimp. If you can get greenies right now, or croakers, um, any kind of live fish bait, would be a little better, I believe, than shrimp, depending on the species you're really trying to, fish for. But if you're going out, you only got a couple dollars, you got the kids with you, maybe a couple hours, grab a dozen, 2 dozen shrimp, support the local tackle shop, and that you got your best shot, catching something big down here. I mean, like Chris said,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I won't be using shrimp. I had made the commitment to go 100% artificial on all my future fishing endeavors, except for one fish because it is impossible to catch a tog on an artificial bait. I mean, I'm pretty sure it can be done, and there might be somebody who's done it, but I'm not willing to sit out there in 7-degree weather and 8, 10 hours and not catch a bite. I gotta break up some crabs and try my best to catch that fish. Number one, because it's so delicious and tasty, but number two, I mean, this pound for pound. There's nothing that really fights like a blackfish. I mean, there are some blackfish that I've caught that, like my 9 pound blackfish, for instance, would make a 30 pound grouper look silly.
right.
And people in Florida looked at me like I was crazy when I said that, but it's the truth, man. I mean, there's nothing that fights like a blackfish,
Yeah, they're fighters for sure.
and yeah, it's great meat.
Yeah, I had the biggest I've had. I didn't even catch. It was a good friend of mine named Greg. He had a 10 pounder, 10 plus by a couple ounces, and it was an amazing story, amazing trip. I'll get into the details another time, but we were offshore January 1st. I mean, first time I took my personal boat offshore. It was out of Little Lake Harbor Inlet. And this man, within 10 minutes of sitting on a spot, just figuring out if there's fish down there, 10,
Hmm.
boom. I mean, drops the rod over. I'm thinking it's not a tog. I'm thinking something else. I mean, big sea bass. I mean, who the hell knows? A cod, ling, something else. And
Hmm.
hell, man, friggin' 10-pound tog. It was 10 some ounces, but nothing fought like that all day long. It was just we were all trying to beat that 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just thinking about this conversation that we're both from Jersey and we know how different some of the fights are and stuff like that. Just reminded me of somebody else who's a Jersey guy who is out there. I just want to give a really big shout out to Bruce Roback from Billy Bones Bait and Tackle. He has two stores, one in Port St. Lucie and one at Stewart, which I worked with both of them. They were both great, and they got a lot of products over there. Anything you need from fresh bait to live bait to artificials, rod and reel combos, spool your line, everything. Give them a check out. Stewart store is on Monterey Avenue, and the Port St. Lucie store is on Route 1.
Yeah,
So definitely give them a check out, and when you get there, tell them the magician sent you.
yeah, definitely. No, Chris has got the inn over there. Definitely want to mention Chris. He's a little more south than where I'm at, but when I tell you this, he was willing to take flyers for a tournament that I set up on the fly, like
Yeah.
without any notification. This man was just happy to help out a fellow fisherman. So definitely give him a check out. Like I said earlier, you can't go wrong supporting your small mom and pop bait and tackles, guys. I mean, Dick's and Bass Pro and Academy is great, but you got someone like yourself that's looking for a paycheck to feed their family, man. Why not go
Exactly.
small mom and pop? You know what I mean?
Like all those franchise stores, they got buku money. These guys are just trying to put a kid through college or just put a meal on the table. And a lot of people think, oh, but he made $199 today selling a reel. Yeah, but do you know how much he had to spend on that just to make 20, 30, 40 bucks?
Right. That gets
People don't understand that, which is it's a little ignorant, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I tell you what, there's a lot to look forward to coming up in this year, man. I know the year's already started, but just pushing forward. There's new electronics that I'm thinking about putting on the boat. Um,
Mm.
the old electronics had taken a fail on me, so we're looking into Simrad and looking into Garmin and trying to get away from the Lowrance right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to look forward to coming up to this new year, guys. So
Well, yeah, you just said two names that you really can't go wrong with either or.
no,
Garmin and Simrad. It's like
well, it's
that's
like
that's top of the line stuff.
it's stepping up from that Walmart combo to the Bass Pro St. Croix kind of deal. It's like
Yeah,
that's where it's at for me. It's almost like I've been dealing with something for so long that's just good enough. I just need a little bit better now. And
I hear you.
I'm not trying to trash any brands out there at all. I'm sure Lowrance has amazing stuff, but it's just not for me right now. That's for sure.
And you know what? Since you brought that up, I remember my first day down in Florida. You said let's go on the boat, and when we got to the dock, do you remember what I did? I looked at the boat and I looked at you like, "Are you insane?" And you looked at me and said, "What's going on?" I said, "Dude, little boat, big guy."
Yeah. So people that don't know how the boat's not 20 foot. The boat is a 16-foot action craft. It's a flats boat. And this man was used to almost like a 21-foot Grady White kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's looking at me like, holy hell! But tell him, I mean, you were
I
surprised.
mean,
You know?
to be honest with you, I thought I was gonna flip it over, but I'm going to be honest with you. I still don't know all the details about the boat, make, model, yeah, whatever. But that was probably in the top two most comfortable boat rides I've ever had in my entire life. And I've been on a lot of boats. And that one, I mean, especially when you punched it and we're going, what, 60 miles an hour through 3 foot of water. I was just like, yo, this thing is nice, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a glove, man, on top of the water. It really is. It's comfortable, and you guys would think, this guy's crazy talking about a 16-foot friggin' skiff, but I can't stress to you enough. This thing is set up to make fishing in 2 foot or a foot, even less than that of water, as comfortable as possibly can be. There's a lot better brands out there, a lot easier, smoother riding, but for what I have to work with right now, this friggin' action craft,
Excuse
that's
me.
for sure.
But yeah, man, that's awesome. And right before we wrap this up, I just want to tell everybody that I hope you guys leave a review if you're listening to iHeartRadio, Stitcher, um, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, a subscribe, and give us your feedback, whether if it's good or bad. We want to hear it. We want to know what you guys want us to talk about. If you have questions that we can bring up on a show, give you our ideas about it or opinions, we can do that. So please don't forget, stay active with us, and we look forward to doing this every single week.
That's
Anything else you got to put in?
Yeah, you guys got to remember the reviews are the way that like all these platforms allow us to find other fishermen like you guys. So without the reviews, as crappy as they might be or as good as they might be, that allows us to have a key and a window into finding more people like your guys selves. To where we could just build this community of good people and fishermen alike around one thing, and that's just talking fishing, guys. Doing
Absolutely. And it makes us doing this easier because right now we're just going off the fly and going off the whim. And if we have things that you guys actually want to hear and talk about, or even if you want to be on the show, leave a comment, get in touch.
But all his information is on the page, guys. So if you listen back into this recording, there's plenty of ways to get in contact with us. So if you guys want to be on the podcast, please feel free. We'll talk it out. We'll figure out what the comments are going to be or what the conversation is going to be about, and we're going to take it on the road. So just let us know. Stay in touch, and much appreciated, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I did.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, I'm Chris. He's Aaron, and we out. We see you next week.